Hey BookTube, it's Jackie. How's it going? If you're new to me, it's the first time you're seeing my face. Hello, what's up? My name's Jackie. I sit on my floor and I talk about books. So I hope that's why you're here, because that's what's gonna be happening today. If you're not new to me, thank you for always tuning in, the continued support. I really do appreciate it. So today for you, I have the 5th installment to my Birthstone recommendation series, and this is all on the Birthstone for the month of May. I know it's coming to you really, really late, but I had to get it out at least in May. So if you are interested in book recommendations based off the properties of gemstones, particularly the emerald, which is the May Birthstone, grab yourself a drink, have yourself a seat, and let's get talking some books. Okay, so a little info about the May Birthstone. It's my birthstone. It's my birthstone. See? Mine. Yes, this is actually my 8th grade graduation ring. It was given to me when I graduated 8th grade from my parents, and it was a tradition. They gave my sister her birthstone and I got my birthstone, and I've had it ever since. So I was definitely rocking it, and I'm rocking my green. Yes, I'm rocking my green, so my hair is definitely on point for the red. Yeah, I feel like Christmas, but it's May. It's May, and it's my birthday month, and this is my stone. This is literally my favorite stone besides the Levion Chocolate Diamond, which is my what my engagement ring is. But actually all my rings are. But this is one of my favorite stones of all time. It's always held a special place in my heart. So I went all out on the recommendations for this one. So we have got a shit ton of recommendations. So this is going to follow the same format as all my previous videos in this series, and I will link the playlist here. So if you missed any of the other previous 4 months, you can go check those out, especially if it's one of your birthstones. You might like some of those books as they were cultivated around your birthstone, and what makes them so special. So let's get right into it, because I got some stuff to talk about. So the month of May actually has 2 birthstones, the emerald and the agate, but we'll be focusing only on the emerald because, well, it's mine. It's mine. I'm just gonna straight up admit it. It's mine. It's also the most popular birthstone for May. But because of that, I do want to give you some multiple recommendations based off the fact that there are multiple birthstones for this month. So I thought it'd be really fun, since this is one of my favorite stones. Actually, it is my favorite stone besides my engagement stone. I thought I would give you a recommendation from each of my favorite genres. My top 3 favorite genres are historical fiction, romance, and fantasy. Not in any particular order, just kind of depends on what I'm feeling at the time. So my first recommendation for Emerald is based off of my love for historical fiction, which is my bread and butter. That is the genre that I always gravitate to. That is home for me. Being a history major, I've always loved having the historical perspective mixed with some fictional elements that could possibly be real. And so the recommendation I have for you is Lori Ann Goldstein's Love, Theodosia. I did a full book review for this, and I will link it in the corner and in the down box below. This is the historical fictional romance of Theodosia Burr and Philip Hamilton. And if you are familiar with either one of those two, at least their parents anyway, you'll understand that this is definitely a Romeo and Juliet retelling. Theodosia Burr is Aaron Burr's daughter, and Philip Hamilton is Alexander Hamilton's son. And if you know your history, Aaron Burr shot Alexander Hamilton and killed him in a duel. Now, this is historical fiction. There is a lot of historical accuracies in this, but the author did take a lot of liberties. But the liberties that were taken, they're really fucking plausible that they could actually fucking happen. Like, they really could have. Just saying, like, they're really close. I love this book. I had such a great fucking time with this. I read this for 4th of July last year, so definitely go check out that book review. And this is the first book from Lori Ann Goldstein, and I definitely plan on picking up more of her work because of this. I had such a good time with this one. Definitely, if you like American historical fiction, if you like Revolutionary War fiction, if you like the buildings of America, and if you just like a little bit of Romeo and Juliet, here you go. The next recommendation I have is based off my love of the genre of romance, and that is Alice Clayton's The Unidentified Redhead. Yes, I had to go there. This is the first installment to the Redhead trilogy, and we follow our heroine, Grace Sheridan, who is a up-and-coming actress, but she encounters a young man who's considerably younger than she is, and he is the star of a new television series, and they hit it off at a party. But because his notoriety is just rising, she is kind of put to the wayside, but he's enamored with her, and she kind of sneaks around, and this is the first installment to the trilogy, so it's really building kind of their meet cute and how they go about maneuvering each other's worlds, her dealing with him as a rising star and a paparazzi and sex symbol, and her kind of falling the wayside, and every wanting to know who the fuck she is. Who has got the it guy's attention? Who is the unidentified redhead? And I had a really good time with this one. Really unique story about this trilogy is I actually read the second book first, not realizing it was a trilogy, and it was awesome still. And then when I found out it was a trilogy, I was like, what? So I marathoned the whole thing, and I was like, damn, that story was 10 times fucking better. I had a great time with this. I marathoned all 3 of them once I discovered that it was a trilogy in a matter of 2.5 days. Yeah, could not put this thing down. Also super fucking steamy. Yeah, it's up there. And the last recommendation I have for the number of birthstones that May has and my favorite genres is fantasy. I do enjoy a good fantasy book. I don't read them as much as the other 2, but I do have a recommendation for you that I haven't seen a lot here on BookTube, and I thought I would give it a shout out because I really did enjoy it, and that is The Grey Bastards by Jonathan French. This is Sons of Anarchy on orcs. Okay, this is Sons of Anarchy meets Dungeons and Dragons and orcs and World of Warcraft. Like, that's what it is. There are so many parallels to Sons of Anarchy, it's almost annoying. But then the author, what he does is phenomenal. While you're being duped by all these Sons of Anarchy references and, you know, parallels, you're thinking, you are literally ripping this shit off. Oh no, he is spinning a story that you don't even see coming, and then bam, it is there, and you're like, the fuck just happened? What? Okay. All right. This has action, this has betrayal, this has fighting, this has a slight bit of romance, very minuscule. It's got some super sexy fun times. It's got heart, it's got character, it's got humor, and most of all, it's got fucking orcs riding hogs. Literal hogs. Okay? They're riding them, and it's fucking dope. It's dope. I had such a great fucking time with this book. I highly, highly recommend this one. Again, a start to a trilogy that is complete. All right, so the name of emerald actually comes from the English name borrowed from Old French esmeraude, which itself stems from sanragatos, which is the ancient Greek word for the emerald. So based off of that, I could recommend one book, but I've already recommended it a lot. Because the author's Greek. There you go. There you go. But I decided to go with the French area of this, and I am recommending Heather Webb's Becoming Josephine, another historical fiction. This is the story of Rose Thrasher, who becomes Josephine, Napoleon Bonaparte's wife. This is her story and how she came about and what she had to go through and how she caught the eye of what would soon become one of the most powerful men in history. I absolutely adored this book when I read it. I had such a good fucking time with this. It's super short. It reads really, really fast. And to be perfectly honest, I read this back in college when I was in my French history classes. I took a whole history class just on Napoleon, the Napoleonic era. The whole class was about it. And we didn't really do a lot of talking about Josephine or his relationships. And that pissed me off. And it bothered me because she was fucking important. And so when I found this book, I definitely wanted to pick it up and read it, and I don't regret it. I had a great fucking time with this. It's a great story. It does start off a little slow because it's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know about Josephine Bonaparte, but once you get into the parts where you start actually seeing her name and she becomes Josephine, the Josephine that we know, it never lets you sit down and rest and breathe. So I had a great fucking time with this, and I definitely recommend it. If you like historical fiction, you like French history, and you like Napoleonic era, I think you'll have a very, very good time with this. The next category for recommendations is based off the color. The emerald can range from green or blue or with yellow tones or all the way to the very, very deep green that you see, or in this picture here for nice up close. This green comes from the impurities of the chromium and the vanadium, or a combination of both of them. Iron also affects the color of the bluish tones that you find within a lot of emeralds. And in the emerald, there's these inclusions that under a microscope, they actually almost resemble mossy growth. And it was this element that reminded me of this book. And that is Holier Than Thou, The Star People, The Witcher, and the Forest King by Nick Jamison. And it just so happens to be green. Go figure. I originally picked this book up because I do reviews for Readsy Discovery, and that's how I found this book. And this book took me on a trip. At first, I had no idea what the fuck I was reading. And then I decided to go back and reread it again because there's a lot of underlying themes that were speaking to me. And I found a philosophical story that took me for a ride and gave me the biggest smile. I had such a good time with this book. I do have a full book review for it as well. I'll link it up here and in the down box below. And the author enjoyed the review so much that we've actually kept in contact, and he's become one of my friends. And because this edition, he actually personally sent me. He sent me this. He took some of my advice on some of my critiques and actually put me in the book. So I have a special thank you. There's my name right there. He put me in his book, and he nicknamed me his fiery-haired witch whisperer. It's literally what it says. A special thank you to Jacqueline Kenny, the fiery-haired witch whisperer, for her editorial assistance. So yes, and he's become a very dear friend of mine. And the reason the mossy element is what attracted me is because there's an element in this book. There's this moss element that actually heals things, and it just reminded me of it. But this book is a trip. It's a trip, and it will not be for everybody. Not everyone who picks this book is going to enjoy it because there is a story within the story. Yes, you're going to get the story of Alex and his heartbreak, but there is a much more beautiful poetic story within the lines. And if you take the time to really break it down and see what the author is saying, I think you'll have a really good time. But just be warned that this one is not for everybody. Only a select group of people is really going to enjoy it, but I'm one of those people, and I had a great time with it. Definitely brought me back to my philosophical roots of my degree. So I had a great time with it, and I hope you'll at least give it a shot. By the way, Nick, how's it going? Okay. The location of the emerald was originally discovered in Egypt, and Egypt remained its main source of, it remained the main source of emeralds for hundreds of years. But you can find emeralds today now in Pakistan, Brazil, Afghanistan, and the largest mine in the United States of emeralds is actually in North Carolina. Because of its original discovery location of Egypt, there was only one book that I could pick for this, and that is a very old but a very dear one to me, Agatha Christie's Death on the Nile. This is number 18 in the Hercule Poirot series. I can never say that guy's name right, but we follow Lynette Ridgway, who is found murdered on a nice little pleasant cruise down the Nile, and it's up to Poirot to discover who the killer is before they dock. It is a whodunit and where, and it's classic Agatha Christie. It was recently turned into a film that you can go see. It's great. I had a great time with it. And the only thing that irritated me the most about that movie was the fact that I read the book. I knew who did it. My husband hadn't read the book. My husband figured out who did it in 5 minutes of the movie. Really ruined the whole thing for me. But the book is fantastic. It's Agatha Christie. I mean, she's a genius. She is a national treasure, you know, when it comes to author and mystery writing stories. And Hercule Poirot is one of her greats. So I really, really enjoy this one, and I hope you do too. All right, so emeralds are created through hydrothermal veins. Hydrothermal fluids escape from magma located within the Earth's crust. And if the hydrothermal fluids contain just the right necessary elements, a emerald will start to form and begin to cool in the deposits of these veins. Emerald is also a variety of the mineral beryl, which forms in 6 sides. So it's very similar to the aquamarine, which is also a variety of the beryl mineral. So because of this unique formulation that you have to have in these veins to create the emerald, it doesn't always guarantee it's going to happen. I immediately thought to a unique creation. You have to have just the right pieces to put together. You had to have the right environment. You had to have the right spark. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This is one of my favorite classics. This is the story of how Dr. Frankenstein creates his monster, and he creates it off of body parts and uses electricity to bring the monster to life, and then, of course, it terrorizes everybody. But I love this book. This is great. This is taught in high schools for a fucking reason. This has been remade into how many movies? For a fucking reason. This has been retold for how many reasons? Because it's fucking amazing. This is a great book, and when I read that about emeralds, I was like, there you go. Emerald is a Frankenstein. It has to be. It's my birthstone. Would I expect anything else? No. Now, some myths and folklore about the emerald. So, myths and folklore, emeralds have long been associated with the eyes, for helping reduce stress, eye strain. And it also represents opening a window to future to those who place it underneath their tongue. Yeah, I never quite understood that one, but you place it underneath your tongue, you're supposed to be able to open windows to the future. Yeah, that was a kind of a strange myth. I was like, okay, well, that one's strange. But the helping reduce eye strain and stress on the eyes, something that helps that with me. Now, I wear glasses, so obviously, yeah. I could have picked a heroine who wears glasses because it helps with eye strain. But something that helps my eye strain is when my eyes are relaxed on something that I'm enjoying looking at. So a beautiful piece of art, beautiful scenery. So I thought a good recommendation for this myth was one of my most beautiful covers on my shelf. And what better than the book that actually won the First Lady of the Year award for best cover, but Malice by John Gwynne. This is the first installment to the Faithful and the Fallen series. It's multiple POVs. We have twists and turns, backstabbing. We have God wars. And honestly, after the first installment, there's a good and a bad, but you don't know which side is which. And there's evidence for both on both sides. And you're just like, I don't know what's going on, but I need to fucking find out. This thing is a ride and a half. It does take about halfway through to really get sunk into it because there's so much detail and there's a huge cast of characters that you're getting introduced. And for a long time, the cast of characters are not connecting. So you're just reading one POV of each person, kind of going along. And then eventually when they start to connect, you're just like, what? The connections is what threw me because I wasn't expecting the connections that I got. And some of our characters never even connect yet. They do connect later on in the rest of the series, as you can see here. But I'm recommending this because of the cover. I bought this book strictly because of the cover, because I thought it was stunning. This is one of the most beautiful iconography that I've ever seen. I love the simplicity of the sword, but yet the detail with the font. And then you have the gray faded out of the battle scene in the back, where you have to dig in and see the details. But from far away, it's just a stunning image. But if you look up close, you see all the details and intricate work in this cover. And I was just stunned. This is very calming and relaxing to look at for me. As a matter of fact, his entire series all does this. Amazing, okay? But I highly recommend this. I gave this thing, I think, 4 stars originally. Oh my God, I loved it. And I do plan on continuing with the rest of the series. Today, emeralds symbolize loyalty, new beginnings, peace, and security. And they're also believed to help relieve stress. So because of this, there's a lot of books I could pick. There are so many books with loyal characters, new beginnings, peace, relieving stress. But there's one book that stuck out to me because it has all of them. And that's A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the novella within the Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. Now, you do have to read A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury and A Court of Wings and Ruin to really actually understand the significance of why this book is so special. This takes place during almost a Christmas celebration. And all the families gathering together. It's a time of peace, new beginnings. The war is over, but things are still kind of brewing. And I had such enjoyment reading this book. I do have a full reading vlog of it, and I'll link it up here for you guys if you want to go check it out. But this thing brought so much enjoyment to me. It didn't make me bawl my eyes out like all of her other books. Instead, it just made me feel at home. I got to see my characters in a relaxed setting, not preparing for something, not coming off of something, just existing and enjoying each other's company and the frivolity and getting drunk and trying to decorate for fucking Christmas. It was great, okay? It was awesome. I had such a good time with this. It's not super steamy, as steamy as the rest of her books, but it's Reeson and Farrah, all right? They're gonna have some steam, all right? They are, guys, they are. But this just gave me this sense of relaxation and enjoyment, and I just got to have fun with my characters that I have grown to love in the past year and a half. And I had such a good time with it. So I definitely recommend this. If you have read this series, but you're on the fence about reading this one, go ahead and pick it up. I mean, literally, you can read this thing in a fucking day. It's super, super short, but it just brings this sense of peace, and I enjoy it, and it makes me happy. Over the years, emeralds have been associated with inspiration and patience, rebirth and renewal. It's also been thought to make those who wear it more intelligent, quick-witted, and passionate speakers. I can speak from experience that a lot of people that I know that are born in May are very quick-witted, very passionate when they are speaking about something that they care about, and I would think very intelligent. And yes, I am talking about myself. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw that out there, guys. Why the fuck not, right? No, but seriously, that is one of the things that emeralds do represent. And when I was trying to think of a book about that represented this, there was only one that really stuck out, and it was the first one that came to me. And I've already recommended it, but when all these books represent things and I constantly keep going to them, there's a reason that I keep recommending some of these books over and over, because they have everything, and this one's just like it. This is The Wicked Witch. This is Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West by Gregory Maguire, the first installment to the Wicked Years. This is Elphaba's story. This is The Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba, named after L. Frank Baum, the author of Wizard of Oz. This is her life from start to finish. Now, I recommended this back in April because this is one of the most difficult books I've ever read, because this is exhausting to read. It is a lifetime, and it is exhausting the way Gregory Maguire writes. But the way he writes keeps you on your toes and very interactive. I'm recommending it now based off the character of Elphaba. Elphaba goes through so much in this book. She grows, she learns, you see her in school, you see her stand up for what she believes in the world that Elphaba exists in Oz, and the Shiz, which is the high school she goes to. Animals can talk, and it's starting to become unacceptable for them to talk, and she's fighting to keep them, trying to keep their voice heard. She is speaking on their behalf very, very passionately many, many times, and no one else is agreeing with her. She's extremely intelligent, extremely intelligent. You see her friendship with Galinda, the Good Witch. You see them meet and become friends, and you see that she is the brains, and Galinda can't really do fuck all right? She can do it all. She can. She's the intelligent one. She's the talented one. She does everything, but because she's green, nobody wants to fucking listen to her. Why has it gotta be green? What you got against green people, okay? Ready? That's just how it is. But I immediately thought of her when I read Intelligent, Quick-Witted, and Passionate, because she is all of those things throughout the entirety of this book, from the beginning to the end. I highly recommend this one. I have a full book review on it. I will link in the down box below and in the corner. It is an old review, and I've actually been requested to reread this and review the rest of the series, and I think I might do that because I think that sounds like a lot of fucking fun. But yes, this is a fun time. If you like The Wizard of Oz, just go into this knowing that everything you think you don't know shit. You know nothing. And if you like the story of Wicked, which is the musical Wicked, which is based off of this book, understand that Wicked is the bare bones of this book. If you were to take this book and turn it into an outline, the big Roman numerals, that's the musical. This is everything else. This is the truth. This is the ending that a Wicked Witch apparently doesn't have. I hope you enjoy it and you'll give it a shot. All right, so the emerald does have some uses. One use is that it was the favorite of the Egyptian queen Cleopatra. The gem was actually her royal jewel and adorned her palace. And during her reign, Cleopatra has been said that she laid claim to all the emerald mines in Egypt. So I definitely had to recommend a book based off of Cleopatra because of this. And I don't have many. I do have one by Margaret George, and I haven't read it. So I don't like recommending books that I haven't read. But I have one that I read a long time ago. And it's this, Cleopatra the Seventh by Christina Gregory. This is the second installment in the Royal Diary series, which is a spin-off series from the Dear America series that literally helped build the girl that you know today. The Dear America series was a series of books about young girls during preteen age that were based off of, they were historical fiction written in diary format. And the Royal Diary series was royal daughters around this age. And this is all Cleopatra's story. This is her story chronicling her life as a young child during a time when her father was in jail and trying to figure out how she was going to survive and eventually one day take the throne, and her eventual taking of the throne and how she was going to handle it. Told in diary format. I read this so long ago. I read this when I was like 7th grade. Long time ago, but it's always stuck with me. It's always been a nice, fun story that brings a smile to my face when I go back to it. So if you're looking for a middle grade book, maybe for a daughter that you want her to maybe get more involved in history, these are great books. The Dear America series and the Royal Diary series, they're fantastic because it puts history in their hands. Yes, they are historical fiction, but there's a lot of fact in them, and it makes history relatable. This story and these series makes these historical stories that you hear about and you learn about in school so much more relatable because you're seeing someone like you go through them. So I definitely recommend this one and any of the books in the series. And there's also a young boy series, a Dear America book, Dear America series based off of young men. And I think there are some royal boy series as well. I think there is. I have never read any of the young men series. I've only read the females. Another use for the emerald is that it is given as a celebratory stone for the 20th and 35th wedding anniversaries. So I'm going to do like I did in April and recommend you a book from my 25th video and my 30th video. So funny story, my 25th video was actually my very, very first weekly wrap-up video. How funny is that? I thought that was great. And in that video, I talked about this bad boy. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, the first installment to the Throne of Glass series. We are introduced to Selena Sardathian. We meet Kaol and Dorian. And we see a triangle form that I guessed wrong. Yes, I know, but I don't care because I loved it anyway. I hated Selena in this one because I thought she was a spoiled brat about an assassin who doesn't fucking kill anybody. But this is the makings of a fucking baller, fucking kick-ass series that I have grown to love, and actually the whole series won my First Lady Award of completed series in 2022. This thing was stellar. This thing was awesome. This was my very, very first Sarah J. Maas, and as much as I've grown to love her for her other works, this will always hold a special place in my heart. And it also started the friendship that I have with a fellow booktuber on here, Jen over the Book Refuge. She hosted the SJM read-along that I actually signed up to participate in, and that's how I originally picked these books up because I did not read these when they first came out. And through that read-along, I found a friend and more friends, but mostly I found her, and I will never let her go. She is a rock star among rock stars, and so this book holds a lot of memories for me. Not only is it a great book and a great intro to a series, I will admit this is not my favorite book in the series by any shape or form, but you do have to read them in order to understand what's going on. And Selena is kind of annoying in this, but she gets so fucking amazing throughout the series. Trust me, if you read this and you don't like it, just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Trust the process. Trust the process. You will not regret it. You won't fucking regret it. Telling you. Great. Fucking great. So, but it also introduced me to one of my dear friends here, and kind of like my big sister on BookTube. So definitely a special place in my heart, and I hope if you've not read it, you will go pick it up. And if you have read it and you didn't like it and you were on the fence about the rest of the series, go pick up the rest of the series because it's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome. So my 30th video was actually also a weekly wrap-up as well. It is the weekly wrap-up from May 22nd to May 28th, 2022. And I will link both of these videos in the down box below so you can go check them out if you'd like. And in that video, I talked about another Sarah J. Maas book, Heir of Fire. Highly recommend that. Highly recommend it, but you do have to read these in order. Heir of Fire is the third book in this. Third or fourth? I can't think off the top of my head. It's third or fourth. But that's not the book I'm recommending. The book I'm recommending is Alien Crashes the Wedding by Becca Braden. This is the first installment to the Lemurian Nights Quartet, and I listened to this on Audible, and I had a great fucking time with this. I'm not really big into alien romances. I wasn't really a fan, but I decided to take a leap, and damn was it a leap that I fucking love. Okay, I love this thing. We follow Sasha and Dagon. Sasha's best friend is getting married to a Caldorian, and Dagon happens to be the king of Caldor. He is not able to originally make the wedding, but things change and he crashes it, and he is the best man. Sasha's the maid of honor, you know, there we go. Sasha just wants a one and done and have some fun because she's, you know, a virgin and she wants to get rid of it. And Dagon, because of his culture, they don't do one and dones. So through a misunderstanding, they end up hooking up, but a lot more shit happens. And then it takes our lovers on a journey that they never realized could possibly happen. And we have maju paste, we have painting people, we have claiming ceremonies, we have some really cool orb shit, we've got battles forming, we've got a lot of political intrigue, we got a lot of stuff, and we got some great fucking alien sex. Dagon has this way of dominance and overcoming this speech, this language barrier, because it's not really a language barrier, it's more of their words. If they say the same word in their culture, it means one thing, and in our culture, it means another. And so what he does is he literally tells her what he's going to do to her and then says, now repeat it back to me. And she paraphrases it. He says, no, tell me what I'm going to do to you. So he knows exactly in her head what his words mean to her and back. And it is fucking hot and fire. I listened to this on audio and I was listening to my car during the first hookup scene, and I never listened to my car again because I could not concentrate. It's that steamy. It's really nice. And there's 3 more of these. Yeah, it's a good time. Highly recommend it. Go have some fun, especially if you like aliens. All right. Now, for my author spotlight, I do this on every Birthstone recommendation video. I spotlight an author that I have read that was born in May. And there is only one author I could fucking talk about because why? I already recommended a book that's a spin-off of his book, and that is L. Frank Baum. L. Frank Baum was born in May, actually born on May 15th, my fucking birthday. Yeah. The writer of Wizard of Oz was born the same day I was. So I am recommending The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Now, if you have read this story, it is a classic beyond classics. If you've seen the movie, it's fantastic. If you've seen any spin-offs of it, it's fantastic. This is the story of Dorothy. Dorothy Gale, who wanted to go somewhere over the rainbow and found herself walking the yellow brick road with Scarecrow, the Cowardly Lion, and the Tin Man, away from the Wicked Witch of the West, also known as Elphaba, trying to get back home to Kansas. Well, oh, and don't forget Toto. This is a classic among classics, and if you've not read it, please go pick it up. If you've never watched the movie of Wizard of Oz, go watch it. It's one of my favorite movies, and I've even seen the shoes in real life. I would grab my picture, but it's all the way over there. It's all the way over there. I got to go to the Smithsonian Institute to see the actual ruby red slippers live and in person, and I was just floored because from a little kid, I've always wanted a pair of ruby red slippers, and I actually do have a pair. But yes, I recommend L. Frank Baum's Wizard of Oz. Go check that out. It is very, very fun. And then go read Wicked and find out why the Wicked Witch of the West is so fucking pissed off. Have fun with that. And then learn everything is not what it seems. That's all I've got. I hope you guys enjoyed this Birthstone recommendation edition on the Emerald. If you have a birthday in May, please let me know if you pick up any of these recommendations, because I picked them because they represent us. All of these books represent a facet of the stone that when you see it, you automatically know it's May. We're the only stone that has a whole location named after it, the Emerald Isles. Okay? We're fucking special. All right? We are one of you kind, we are unique, and all that jazz. And I cannot wait to see you guys with the next installment for June, and I will see you guys all soon with another video. Bye, guys.